Okay, we're live.
We're at 6, ready to call it to order?
Yep.
All right, let's give roll call.
All right. Gail Ryan. Not here. Stuart Mutzfeld. Present. Jim Davis.
Present.
Adam Staley.
Here.
Greg Reed.
Here.
Stephanie Rome.
Here.
Sandra Harrison.
Here.
Christian Hoff.
Here.
Darren Alloway. Don Stuckey.
Here.
Perfect.
All right. Tonight we're going to be discussing comprehensive plan, ETJ expansion, and ETJ agreement. For the first half hour, we're going to be discussing the first two items. Then we'll open the floor at 6:30 for questions and concerns for just the ETJ expansion first. We'll work our way through that, and then we'll work on the ETJ expansion agreement with the county.
Yep.
That way we'll keep them separate, and any concerns can be addressed appropriately.
I scheduled this for 6:30 so that if some people did have questions before 6:30, we could discuss some of this stuff. So in general, comprehensive plan has been around, Mike, when did that first?
He was working on it, I think, in 2020 when I.
Okay, so the comprehensive plan has been around and being worked on since 2020 at least, and has kind of sat on the shelf. And I know a number of the plan commission members have been through it multiple times, and I made you go through it again over the past year. Not a lot came out of that as far as changes. Mostly what we did is we updated some statistics, and this has been on the website. We even had a separate website where this was on it. We removed that. It's been around for a while. So we updated facts and figures, had to reformat everything, put in a few new pictures, made some verbiage changes. We assigned out a certain amount every single month that we did it, and we went through those and made changes together, compiled those into a final form. The only real the real section that was changed or added to was the second to last section, and it had to do with the ETJ expansion and a future land use map. As we went through this, we realized that there really wasn't a future land use map, and as I understand, that's really required with the comprehensive plan. So we needed a future land use map. Chris and the county were good enough to help us put that together. So we put that in the comprehensive plan as well. The ETJ expansion, once again, was not an us thing in these meetings. It was not we didn't originally come up with that idea. That has been around for a while. Chris, do you know how long you've been looking at that?
When Vivian first started, and
22 when she was.
yeah, so 3 years ago,
Yeah.
is when we discussed that expansion.
So that was an expansion on the south as well as the west side, basically to box it off around the city. Before it kind of came to the bottom of the city limits, but it went above on the north side. So we brought it down to kind of balance that out north to south and make it a perfect square. So it was kind of it was not a square. What's that?
Haphazard, just.
Yeah, it was kind of haphazard. So we squared that off. But that had been a proposal that had been around. Since we are working to pass this comprehensive plan once and for all here, it seemed like a great time to include the ETJ expansion into the request. And I did talk to the county commissioners about it as well. I went in and said, hey, this stuff's coming, and had a conversation with them, letting them know that we were doing this, that we were going to get this through, as far as the comprehensive plan is concerned. Their decision, obviously, to allow an ETJ expansion or not. So we will have to go through us first. This is going to be a favorable, unfavorable, or no recommendation to our common council, our city council. Then they will have to vote to move it forward. Then we will take it over to the county plan commission, and they will vote whether it's a favorable, unfavorable, or no recommendation to the commissioners, and then the county commissioners will decide on approving their end. We will approve our own comprehensive plan, but that ETJ expansion as well as that interlocal agreement will have to be approved by the county as well. Sound about right?
Yep, sounds perfect.
Okay, so we talked about this last time, but just once again, I'm gonna lay it out there. We are not annexing anything. We do not have any plans to annex anything at this point. The expansion of the ETJ is going to allow Butler locally to make zoning decisions. So they will have to come to the Butler zoning or plan commission and city planner to get approval for something instead of going to the county to get that approval. It does not affect taxing. We're not going to be taxing city taxes because it's not part of our city limits. It's not, it's unincorporated still. We just are the zoning authority. The county assessor will still assess the land, will still do all of that as normal, and they will be taxed appropriately. As part of this, as we bring in new extraterritorial jurisdiction area, each parcel has to translate into one of our zoning districts. So if just south of the city, just outside of city limits is residential. So those residential, I think it's all R2, we are bringing all of those in as single family residential. We already have an ag ETJ district, which works very well. Anything that is ag will come in as our ag ETJ. Heavy industrial, or I3 in the county, that's what's connected to us. That's very heavy industrial. That will come into our heavy industrial district. Now, there is a piece of land owned by the Malcolms that it's been residential. It's farmland. It's all farmland. And they had asked, hey, can we bring this in as agriculture? What can we do here? We're going to bring that parcel in as agriculture, our ETJ agricultural district. We're doing kind of a mass rezone as part of this anyways, and it makes sense. There is no residential except for one farmhouse on it.
Where's that?
That is just on R.E. Jones Road, basically. And if we want, I can hook my computer up and I can bring up Beacon.
Just kind of wondered.
Yep, it's a very large chunk of land. There's actually, as far as the county is concerned right now, there is 3 different zoning districts on that chunk. Residential, ag, it's ETJ, because there's this tiny little piece in our ETJ currently that is our ETJ, and then there's residential and agricultural. So we're gonna make the residential portion agricultural for us. I have been contacted by some folks from Tri-State Motorcycle Club, and they have some land, and I have to go look at it, but they're gonna send me the parcels. And they wanted to make sure theirs was brought in as ag as well, because it's just vacant land. So we'll take a look at those, obviously.
And once again, we're not dictating tax levies.
No.
It is just projected.
If we change someone from, residential to agriculture, it's not gonna change their taxes at all, because the county's still gonna say, you're using this much for this, you're using this much for this, and you're using this much for this. So a couple of different scenarios. We talked about the SDI scenario. SDI has, let's say they have 500 acres of land, and 200 acres of that has buildings and structures and improvements on it. Those 200 will get taxed at heavy industrial. The other 300 will likely be taxed at vacant land or agriculture. Yeah, because it's not being used for anything.
Anybody that owns any land wants it classified as vacant land.
A lot of people see the zoning classification, think that it mandates taxing, and it does not. It is the actual assessor saying you're using it for this. So I could have, my land is all agriculture that I live, but I'm being taxed residential. What is it?
And then the excess is excess acreage.
Yes, the rest is excess acreage. So changing the zoning does not do that. So if someone wants to come get a permit, they come to us. If someone wants to get a BZA hearing through the hearings officer, they come to us. If they want to rezone, they come to us. So it just changes that locally here. Now I had a discussion, I was talking once again to the motocross club, and there was some concerns around, are we going to be implementing restrictions to, noise and different things like that. And what I told them was, no, you're an existing business, you're doing business. We're not going to change the way you do business. But in knowing that that is there, they could go to the county. If someone wants to build a house over there, they could go to the county and go, yeah, no big deal. they can come to me and I can say, just so you're aware, there is noise out there because there is a business out there, an established business, and they make noise late into the evening with their events. Do you still want to pursue that? So I'm able to give a little more local information into these things than maybe the county would. So bringing that back in a lot of situations makes sense.
The motorcycle track will be in confirmation, operating on industrial or on agriculture zoning with their business.
Yes, and then their land use is, the county is labeling a bunch of that as far as assessment and taxing as commercial. But the zoning can still be agriculture.
They can operate commercial business on agriculture land.
Yeah.
That's an allowed.
Yeah, and I think they have several parcels. So when they send me that list, I'll be looking it over to say, does it make sense to bring this one? Does it make sense to bring this one? And, but, a lot, with the Malcolm property, it makes perfect sense. Like, they're farmers, they don't, this is, why is it done residential?
Yeah.
Let's bring this into the.
They're making their land worth quite a bit more money if they would let it go that way, That's how I'd want it zoned. I want it zoned residential, even if it was a farm field, but that shouldn't, like you said, change their taxes any, it's still a farmer's field.
Exactly. Now, so the first public hearing here is going to be on the comprehensive plan and our ETJ expansion for us to approve and send on to city council. The second one is going to be for the agreement with the county. And Chris, what year was it that you started having to have that agreement?
2017, I believe.
Okay, so
any new comprehensive plans after 2017 or rewrites like you're doing has to have an agreement with the county for the Indiana code.
So what we do in the ETJ today is actually what we will be doing with this agreement. It's just becoming a formalized agreement because it's required by Indiana code when you rewrite or do a new comprehensive plan.
Right.
So that agreement is very boilerplate. We reviewed it, we checked, Mike reviewed it, we talked about it together, made a couple changes. The only change of substance was a little bit more language on being able to allow folks to not have to transfer to a city sewer, right? We wanted to make sure that the city could say, no, this doesn't make sense. That was literally, I think, the only change.
I believe so too.
That agreement is, how many different municipalities do you have that agreement with currently?
3.
So 3 others. And they use that boilerplate agreement because it's the typical things that you would do, we would do versus what they would do.
Yeah, and it basically just makes sure that, as Andrew just said, things that are done now are in a written form so that people know what's going on, right? Before when you don't have an agreement, it's who does this, who does that. And with the agreement, it says who does the addressing, when do things need to go before drainage board, that sort of thing.
It's like a roadmap for your improvement.
Right.
It's like, hey, who do I need to go talk to for this? Who do I need to talk to for this?
Or who has the authority of.
Well, when I first came in, there was these topics, these ETJ topics that someone would need a new address or something in the ETJ. I'm like, Chris, who does this? I don't know. Well, now I can look. I can look at a document and say, oh, here's how we do this, or who's responsible, who has the jurisdiction to do it.
So really, the only thing the ETJ is changing is where they would go to get permits for use of the land, or to change it, or to rezone it. They could do it locally instead of having going to the county.
They'll still have to, for certain things, go to the county.
Well,
Because,
right,
and that's
but
because
as far as-
Butler ourselves, like a rezone, we can do. A building permit is like that scenario where they'll have to go to the county because we don't have our own building inspector, but they will come get approval for that from here. So, if it's an accepted use, you get your permit. If it's, you're following the standards, you get your permit. Like I said, the one part of that, the caveat to that is after it's approved by Butler, if they're building a house or something, it'll have to go to the county because they do all of our building inspections.
Yeah, they get the building permit.
And they rely on us to say, is this an approved thing or is this not an approved? So when it comes in, they don't say, well, we're not gonna approve this. No, it's been approved here. They're just gonna issue a building permit and get an inspector out there when it's all said and done. So
It's just about zoning, is all it is.
yeah, it's the ability for Butler to do the zoning for that.
For the people that live right around Butler, they don't have to go to county for it.
Yep, exactly. What am I missing?
Nothing.
Pretty much it.
He did send you the updated pages for the future land use section. He's called it the new section.
So the new section was printed off back there. And it had the future land use map as well as the ETJ currently and the ETJ expansion so that you guys have that and you can see that as well.
Yeah. And really the future land use map is, I work for the county and I work for the city of Butler, so I'm putting my city of Butler hat on. It's better than the county's future land use map. Like the areas that, or especially for the expansion, that was the county's jurisdiction has basically changed to all agricultural. And that'll change when the county rewrites their comprehensive plan and gets that approved here, hopefully first of next year. It'll match what the city of Butler has done too, but for current, it's better than what the county has. It makes sense for what the uses are that are out there.
And we took the color scheme and stuff here.
Yep.
From the county. Because there is no reason for someone to look at the county's zoning map and then have to look at Butler's and all the colors are different, et cetera. We're trying to kind of align so everything becomes clearer as people are looking things up.
Standardization just makes things so much easier.
Yes.
Who sat down and drew this up?
I sat down and drew it up based off input and what was already in there through those, the tables and stuff. I used the tables, here's where these things were, but we put it into visual form. And Chris was good enough to get this done, the actual map, because I'm not as proficient in those tools, but something I want to make sure everyone realizes is the future land use map is not zoning.
Right.
So if you see a property of yours inside industrial in that, or commercial in that, or residential in that, that does not mean you can only do those uses. It just means if we were to see in our minds commercial coming to Butler, we would expect that to maybe go on the west side of town, right there on 6 or something. If we were to think of industrial coming, it might be out by R.E. Jones just because there's already industrial there.
Yeah, it's well thought out, I think.
Yeah, it's
A couple oddities on there.
and those will change. Those things
I
can
asked to
change.
get my land rezoned to commercial and they wouldn't do it. Now you got it marked up as commercial on there. I'm like, all right, man.
But it's not zoned that way.
Right,
It's just
but you sure would have a hard time denying me to
Right.
have it rezoned.
the
you know.
direction to
This
go.
makes my land worth
Yeah.
more money. You
It's
know what I mean?
a
So
direction
I
to
just
go.
wondered if there was any input on it or just two guys sat down, had a couple beers and drew that up or
No.
what, you know what I mean?
I used the tables that are inside the comprehensive plan.
Yeah,
where-
I hadn't heard anybody ask me about it or anything.
Yep. And part of that was, and I'm not putting fingers anywhere, but that came a little late, and the reason being is that future land use map, I don't have the experience with the GIS tools to do that properly.
Right. It looks
So
good. It looks
reached
good.
out to Chris and they were able to get it done for me. I was gonna go somewhere else with that. Future land use map. We have 10 minutes before the public hearing. Can we ask anyone in the audience if they have any general questions?
No.
Or would you rather wait?
Maybe
Okay,
the board members have questions.
Yep.
That's the public.
okay, we can wait till the public hearing.
Now, I know that when he had passed that out for quick review, I did ask whether or not BZA was defined within that portion that he had handed out, or if it was part of the document. So he did tell me that it was
I believe it's in the document itself. I will check and make sure, but.
I would like to see a hard copy of that to look at. Maybe I was
so
trying to read it and some
here's-
of them graphs, or I can't even figure them
here's
out.
where-
You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna.
Here's where I was
approve
at on that.
Until, you know.
If you would like, I didn't want to print off 125 pages 15
Right.
times, 20 times, but if you would like a physical copy, we can definitely do that.
Yeah, it's probably good for us all to read that
Yes.
thing, you know,
Yep.
before we approve it. You know, I think, you know, but we can try, you know.
Just so you're aware, when we went through each section together, those were the only changes I put in.
Right.
Just the ones we
No, I've
discussed.
seen them, I
So,
see,
yeah.
but the graphs are in there, all the columns are all not lined up right, I couldn't read it, anybody read that? Did you- Thing, I've been spent half the day today reading that thing.
Where,
I don't know, the graphs, or them square, what do you call
Tables?
them? Charts. Chart.
It looks fine on my end.
I was gonna say, I spent a lot of time formatting that, cause it came
Well,
from a
yeah, you didn't
PDF.
notice that, Stuart? You didn't read that thing?
I read through it.
I mean, although, man, I go through every period of
I
that.
mean,
No, and that's fine, did you, no, you could.
Did
Can
you
you
look at
print
it on
that
a
off?
phone or did you look at it on a computer?
On my phone.
There's your problem.
yeah,
Yeah, well, that's why I said if I had a hard copy, I could tell that.
Yeah, you know, I'm like,
I
I like the
don't
hard
use
copy.
a PC, I don't have a printer, and I don't have a PC, so all I got is my phone, when you guys send me this way, that's the way it comes across.
And it came as a
And if you're gonna ask me for the vote.
It came as a doc, so I
I'm
wanted
sure
you guys to have them.
you know.
PDF would allow that to
Yeah.
shift around a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, that's, the one last thing, in there is something we should do is every couple years, go back and see if anything's changed, do a
Sure.
review. What have we done? And does it make sense to update these sections and show that this part has gotten done?
Yeah,
I think that we need to look back, like.
maybe
every 2
once a
years.
year, even have.
Once a year,
dedicated
once
meeting
every
to
2 years,
reading across it.
something. Just say, hey, we got this done. This was one of our goals and we attained it. So.
And we can also put in there a subsection that we have reviewed it and no changes were noted as well.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Yep. Some of the stats, I updated what I could. Some of them I couldn't get newer numbers, and I went to the exact sites, I went to the exact data sets, and it even said you can get this per city, and it wouldn't allow it yet. I don't know if that's because they're still working on 2020 stats, or if, I'm not sure, but it wasn't available, so I left the 2017 stats there. So, yeah. Did put in some new pictures, obviously, of a couple of the things we threw in. So we threw in the city council, city hall building, we threw in pictures of police, picture of the elementary, those types of things. So.
Update some of the really grainy pictures.
Yep. I split off Suzie and Hendrickson into 2 separate parks, like we talked about. So. Any more questions from you folks?
In the end, all this is, the only thing this is we're casting a vision for the future.
Correct.
We're not writing stone tablets that get put in some, archival thing. We're just casting a vision to say, this might happen, and that's the beautiful part about a vision is, you can change it mid-vision.
Yes.
So it's just us moving forward, and there's nothing in it set in stone. It's just a thought or an idea.
If nothing changes per anything.
Yeah, if there's no goal, there's nothing to shoot at. And we're just trying to move this place forward, just a little bit.
The other part of this, as far as a comprehensive plan is concerned, and Don or Chris, one of you can probably explain this much better than I can. In order to solidify zoning and all of that, you really need a comprehensive plan in place with your zoning coinciding with that and the decisions you make coinciding with that.
You have to have a comprehensive plan of housing. That's an Indiana code. And a future land use map. And then, the zoning changes that you make, part of your findings of fact are should be supported within your comprehensive plan.
Should be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty subjective.
Yes.
I like that word. It's just subjective. You
Yep.
know what I mean?
Well, the city's existed for many decades, so there's a lot of things that have been in place that made sense 15, 20, 30 years ago. Now, things have changed due to evolution, and so this is where we're looking to, hey, if we want to make this change, this is what we are proposing. It's still not hard to back.
And we've been trying to get a comprehensive plan put together for how long?
A
now?
new one. The last one was 2001, and we've been
Right.
trying to pass this for 5
You
years.
know, the last 3 planners started the project and then it never got finished.
Yep.
It's time to push this thing over the line.
You guys are just tired of going over it over and over.
84 pages.
With a new group every time.
But in the end, I mean, there's nothing in it that can't be changed, correct?
You can change, yeah, you can.
Yeah, I mean, it's
You
a
can
malleable
update your comprehensive
vision.
anytime.
Just a suggestive guide.
Yeah, it's not.
It's a suggestive guide, is all it is, nothing set in stone.
And it should, but it doesn't have to, because you know, it's a comprehensive thing.
It's like to have, not must haves.
Yes, so, I'm just.
It's a guide.
And I've only been
For
through
the
it
future.
twice, some of you guys been through it 3 or 4 times now.
I've been through both versions.
Right,
I
you
pulled it
know?
off the internet.
I think I'm the only one for me and Steph maybe that's been through it all the time.
Oh, my goodness. I think if we,
15, 20 times.
I think coming to a place where we understand what it really is and not overblowing what it is or getting it out of context really satisfies the curiosity of anybody involved.
I like what Andrew's done with it. He did a nice job.
Absolutely.
Laying it out, I think.
And probably with this, at some point, I would imagine we will have some zoning changes. And we discussed even a couple of meetings ago, a number of zoning changes for us to think about, updates, things that are past due, like it just doesn't happen that way anymore. So hopefully out of this, we can kind of step in next into some actual zoning code or zoning ordinance changes that make sense and make it make sense based off of this.
And best practices, like you and I have discussed, we don't change someone's zoning without making them aware.
We don't change anyone's zoning. I've never seen it done since I've been here. Unless it's requested, we don't change it. Now, in this case, we're translating the new ETJ area to our equivalent zoning district, right?
Well, it just means that we have a say over what it does and they don't have to go somewhere.
They don't
else.
have to go to-
They can say right here.
They don't have to go to the county to get
And
approved.
they deal with us instead of people they might not know.
Shouldn't matter to anybody unless they're planning on doing something in the near future to change something, you know?
Yeah.
And even
Everything's
then,
gonna stay the way it is, yeah.
Yep.
I've been in the ETJ as long as I know, you know what I mean?
right.
I live outside of town and I'm in the extraterrestrial thing and it's nothing, you know, it's just, I come to up here for a zoning change rather than to.
Yeah, it puts it in the hands of the local people instead of going over where somebody might not know.
Correct.
So, okay.
That's all it is.
So as we step into this, we will do the comprehensive plan with the ETJ expansion, favorable, unfavorable, or no recommendation from you guys.
And land use,
And
future land use.
and future land use, sorry. All of that as one. And then we'll close that one and start another one for the interlocal agreement with the county. So it'll be 2 separate public hearings. Should we bring time limits if we want to? Do it when they start. When you start.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I had discussed that. The first segment we'll discuss, and then of course, in order to keep things concise, we'll keep it between 2 to 3 minutes per question and discussion if necessary after that. Work our way through there and then get down to the second document to discuss and do the exact same thing, 2 to 3 minutes for questions, discussions, and rebuttals.
If anyone wants to look on their phones, on the Facebook page for Butler is a copy of the comprehensive plan. It's a long document. It's been on the website for a number of years. But it's there if you want to pull it up on your phone. It should be like either the last post or the second to last post. It's a PDF format you can pull up on your phone. So just in case you're wanting to pull it up into this. And the interlocal agreement, aside from the signature pages, are one of the documents that was back there. I know there's not enough for everyone. I can get you copies if you want to share, but that was what was back there.
Yeah, we can kill a couple of trees if we print in multiple copies of the comprehensive plans out there.
I'm willing to give anyone any document. I just hate printing off 600 pages.
Yeah, I did print a few more.
Did you?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
So we'll go ahead and open up the floor for discussing of the ETJ expansion and comprehensive plan. Any questions and concerns?
And future land use.
That's, didn't have that written down.
No, I.
Like I said, 2 to 3 minutes for questions, concerns, comments, rebuttals. I could put chocolates on the microphone to entice people if need be.
My name's Barry McKinley. I'm here for the Tri-State Motorcycle Club. I spoke with Andrew and Mike. I understand.
So,
Oh, is there a switch on there?
yeah, just hold down that little button and the light will come on. There you go. Thank you.
Sure. I understand what we discussed, but my thing, it stills my mind is with the zoning, I know you said this, the city ordinance would not apply out there. What says it that you cannot make it apply out there though for a tract that's been there for 60-some years?
Which part? Sorry, are you talking about the, no, like a noise ordinance? Yep.
So city code only, and Don can correct me if I'm wrong, only is only, enforceable within city limits, because it's the city code. And in the county zoning, you're currently under agricultural. Yeah, so, just FYI.
But we will bring you in as agriculture.
Yeah.
Nothing will change for you,
Yeah.
unless you wanna change your zoning, then you come up here instead of Auburn.
So there's no way for the city to expand their city ordinance outside city limits unless they would annex.
That would go for sewer, water, and everything, right?
Yeah, we're not gonna try to bring sewer and water out to you guys.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's one thing we're concerned about.
No,
Annexation then.
it's gotta be in the city limits to do that, we'd have to annex you first, and that's not gonna happen.
And there is no plans to annex anything with this comprehensive plan or this ETJ expansion.
No.
There just isn't. It just makes sense to square that off and allow you folks to come here for local decisions.
And when you did say that our taxes would still stay with,
The county, and there will not be a Butler tax on top of that because you're not in city limits.
The only effect it'll have is just if you wanna change the zoning, basically.
Yeah, you come here instead of going
That's,
down.
that's it, simplified, yeah.
thank you.
Step right up.
I'm Larry Cagle, I'm a resident, I live south of town, on some property over by Tri-State Motocross. If we're gonna be governed by the city, can we vote in city elections?
No,
That's within city limits.
it's gotta be in the city limits.
So,
You're not governed by the city, only the zoning.
Yeah.
Only if you wanna change your zoning, that's the only authority we're putting over it. If you wanna change your zoning from agriculture to business or something, you would come to the city of Butler to do that rather than the courthouse in Auburn. It just gives us control of how it gets zoned, that way Auburn's not putting something right next to our town that we don't want there, you know, gives us control over the zoning and nothing else.
And by Auburn County,
County,
just,
right, yeah,
you go to Auburn physically, but it's the county. Where instead of the county making a decision, so like I said with the motocross, let's say that someone came and wanted to build a house right next to them. And the county is much bigger. And they built that house and then they were really upset with them because of how loud it was, okay? Coming here locally, I can say, yep, you can absolutely do that. It's an accepted use, you're in that district. But just so you know, there will be loud noises there. And I know this because I'm local, so there will be loud noises. That's not gonna change, that's their business. So do you still really wanna build a house there? So just because I know locally what's going on, it makes a better decision for the people that are wanting to do stuff out there.
when did this idea first come up?
For the ETJ expansion,
Yes,
what year, 2020?
Yeah, 4 or 5 years ago.
It was
It's been
my
discussed for a while.
my predecessor, and possibly even the city planner before that, came up with that ETJ expansion. So when we went to pass a new comprehensive plan, you have to formalize an ETJ agreement with the county, and that was already there as a proposed expansion. So we grabbed that and said, okay, let's go ahead and consider this, and let's see, about squaring off. Our ETJ right now kind of goes like this, and then down, and then it kind of goes back up. So we wanted to square that off and say, okay, here's how far we're going up here. We're gonna go pretty much the same distance on the south, and then we're gonna make it a perfect, perfect square or rectangle.
Perimeter.
Yep.
yeah, I've lived in the same place almost 40 years, just outside of town here. I've never seen or heard anything like this. And this to me looks like the first step of an annexation.
Oh,
That's the paper I got in the mail.
right, no, I helped
I mean,
stuff,
we're
I
talking about
understand, yeah, that's why we're having the meeting.
We're talking about looking into city